In this Facebook ads tutorial, I'm going to show you a new way of running Facebook ads for Shopify that will save time, improve performance, and just make your life so much easier. The good news, it is relevant for anyone, whether you're beginner or advanced, spending $50 a day or thousands of dollars a day on Facebook ads. Plus, it's a proven structure that is based on real experience from within my own clients' ad accounts. So here's an example of the benefit after introducing this structure into one of my accounts. You can see this campaign here launched on the 26th of September. That is this structure. And this is the week for the 26th of September to the 2nd of October. And you can see that this campaign had $18 CPA, which is lower than the average for all the other campaigns and lower than every single campaign. Of course, the spend on this would have been lower than them, but it just shows you that introducing it has lowered the CPA straight away, beaten everything else, and it's managed to stay low. It's not that low, but as we've scaled up to $3,400 a day, it's around about the $22. So still better than the average of everything else, and we're spending more money. Here is another account, and this is Wicked Reports, so not Facebook's view. You can see the 3rd of October to the 9th of October reporting period. So this is the first week before I introduced the new campaign structure. You can see we've got a 0.69 ROAS. We spent 18K and we had 11.5K revenue. Let's look at the week after introducing it now. And you can see 10th of October to 16th of October, the week after. We now have a 1.05 ROAS. We spent 13.4K, so we're spending less, and we've generated 12K. So we spent less and we generated more revenue after introducing the structure. Now, my advice is to watch the whole video rather than skipping to the point where I actually built the campaign, even if you're advanced, because the things I'm going to talk about before building the campaign will properly explain the structure and why I'm doing things that I'm doing. And if you don't follow that, you might end up adapting the structure and not getting the performance that you need. So definitely watch the full video through at least the first time. So what is the new strategy? Well, it's a very simple, highly automated account structure that consists of one single CBO campaign that houses 3 broad ad sets. And you're gonna have 2 ad sets that will be housing dynamic creative ads for testing of creatives, and then 1 ad set that will be your winners ad set and will contain the post IDs of the winning ad combinations from that dynamic creative testing process. But don't worry, I'm going to show you a diagram explaining this and talk about how to use it. And of course, I will be sharing my screen and going through the full build anyway, so you'll fully understand it. I just want to give you a heads up to what we're going to be doing. And also a big shout out to Charley T, aka the Facebook Disruptor, who has really inspired me to take a lot of the concepts I was doing, like broad targeting, dynamic creatives, and a very simple account structure, and use it in this final form, which I'm going to show you today, which is really his concept, especially his 3-2-2 method of dynamic creative testing, which I will show you very soon. So before we jump on the computer to look at the strategy and also building it, I want to firstly outline some shortfalls that I see commonly preached by marketing gurus, or that you might even use yourself, which in my opinion are outdated and is holding you back. And don't worry, I use a lot of these myself, some until fairly recently, but I definitely think this structure, as I'm going to show you in its entirety now, is the way forward and the way to go. So let's look at some of those shortfalls now. Number 1 is interest targeting. This is really the cardinal sin of Facebook ads, especially in a post-iOS 14 world where audiences are much smaller. Sure, you might get some good ROAS, you might get some low CPA initially, but it is not a scalable means of running campaigns and goes against the way the algorithm is fundamentally built. Now, of course, I do have a video on interest targeting versus broad targeting, which you can watch. It'll be linked somewhere here or in the description. And I definitely recommend you go give that a watch to fully understand this. But essentially, Facebook, with all their data points and highly advanced AI, do not need to rely on some rudimental means of an advertiser selecting a category of people's interests for Facebook to understand what you're selling and who it is relevant to. They have scanned your images with their AI, they've scanned your copy, your website, they know what all the other advertisers are doing, they know what all the other products are on the market, they know how people behave across all of their platforms. They know exactly what you're selling and who's going to buy it. They don't need to rely on you setting up certain interests. The reason you might get some initial success with interests, even better than broad, is because you're targeting a very small audience segment, which has a high chance of having some highly relevant people in it. But that's not a long-term strategy. As soon as you've used up those highly relevant people, there's a high chance that interest is going to die. But if you're just patient and give Facebook some time to learn and do what it's going to do, by going broad, you'll find more people and have a way more sustainable and scalable means of targeting people. You just have to have that patience. And for those of you who are into dropshipping, using interest to target different audience, I would argue that you're basing or categorizing something as a winner based on atypical results and a massively overinflated representation of how the actual market is going to be in the long term. But of course, that might be part of your strategy. You might just be moving from product to product, trying to make a bit of money. But if you want something long term, I definitely think broad is the way to go. Common problem number 2 is using ad set budget optimization. Again, I have another video on this which goes into a lot more detail on CBO versus ABO, which you'll want to have a watch if you're interested. But essentially, the shortfalls are that learnings are kept at the ad set level. There's a capacity limit of 50 ads per ad set. So both of these combined make it a poor choice for a long-term structure, which is what we want to do with this structure I'm going to show you today. Also, there's a higher risk of audience overlap using ABO. And finally, you're relying or you're preferring to use human intervention over allowing a machine with billions of data points to do it. And finally, outdated practice number 3 is using individual creative and copy combinations. Now, this isn't that bad in itself. There's no issue with doing this. It's just less efficient than if you were to use dynamic creatives, because with individual combinations, you're basically just trying to guess what the market wants, what works from a human level. Whereas with dynamic creatives, you can just take a bunch of combinations, put them together, and allow Facebook to go out and decide what combinations work best by testing the actual market in real time. And then it's going to double down on the ones that work the best. So rather than you having to guess what's going to work, dynamic creatives allow Facebook to do the work for you, to test it in the market and find what wins. And then you can take that and put it in another ad set as that combination rather than trying to do the guesswork. So that is all the problems. Without further ado, let's jump onto the computer, look at this actual strategy, and of course, give you an example of me building it. So this is how your account structure is going to look. You're going to have one overriding campaign, CBO, campaign budget optimization campaign. And within that, you're going to have 3 ad sets using broad targeting. If you don't know what broad targeting is, definitely go watch the video I mentioned earlier about interest targeting, because in there I explain exactly what broad targeting is. But for this demonstration, I'm just going to assume you know, but if you don't, just jump in, watch that video, and then come back to this. But yeah, you're going to use broad targeting. 2 of them are going to be dynamic creative ad sets. So basically you toggle dynamic creative on in the ad set, and then that's going to convert it into a dynamic creative ad only ad set. You can only have 1 dynamic creative ad per ad set. And you're going to have one that is the default ad set. Okay, if you click create new ad set, that's the default one you're going to get, where you could put new ads in, or you could take the post ID of existing posts and create ads from it. And that's what we're going to do in this situation. And then within the dynamic creative ones, you're going to be having 3 images or videos, 2 primary text, and 2 headlines. I recommend only doing all videos in the ad set, or the ad, sorry, or doing all images. So like, for example, this one could be 3 images, that one could be three videos, or they could both be 3 images, or they both could be 3 videos each, okay? The thing you don't want to do is to put like an image and 2 videos in this, or 2 images and a video, because images and videos behave differently. So it's going to give you, it's not going to be the best thing to test them together essentially, okay? Just use all images or just use all videos in one ad set. And when you first launch this, you're basically going to have this one as a shell. You're not going to have any winners yet because it's the first week. But what you do is you'll launch these two, and after 3 days of not touching them, you're then going to review what are the best combinations, what has got you sales. And I'll show you in the next section when I'm actually building it, how you actually do that. But you're going to look at what performed the best. You're going to go in and retrieve the post ID of that combination. So the best image, primary text, and headline combined. What was the best one? Take that and then transfer it into this winners ad set. Okay, so you're going to do that. If one doesn't work, you would turn it off, duplicate it, change the lineup of creative, change the images or change the primary text, change the headlines to something different, and relaunch it. If it was performing and you've taken the winner, don't turn it off, just leave it on until it eventually burns out, or you're now you found something that's better, and your criteria of what is a good CPA, what is a good ROAS has moved, okay? So you want to do that. What I would say is as well, sometimes you'll find where you take the winner out of this, you put it into here. This isn't able to outperform that. No problem. Just leave it running and keep trying to test new things and trying to beat it. So if you've got one that is performing, you can always do 2 extra ad sets rather than just have one going. Because if you've only got one going, you're only testing 3 images or 3 videos every 3 days, because you want to keep doing this every 3 days or twice a week. But you want to make sure you're still doing the testing. So if this is performing and you're not outperforming it with this, just leave it running and make 2 new ad sets to test creatives with. You basically just always want to have 2 ad sets that are doing the testing and one that is the winner. But if other things are performing, you can just leave them running, as I said, okay? So let's jump into actually building this now. Okay, so I'm in one of my ad accounts, and you're going to come up to create. You're going to take the sales campaign objective. If it gives you the option for Advantage Plus shopping campaign, come down to manual sales campaign, because we want to do this manually, and click continue. Okay, so we've got your campaign, your ad set, and your ad. I'm just going to name them as such for now. Obviously, I would use a naming structure, but we're not going to do that today just to save time. And you're going to come down to the budget. So Advantage campaign budget, that is campaign budget optimization. It's just a rebrand. And you're going to toggle that on, okay? Set your daily budget. I mean, it's going to be at least 50. I don't think you should be going below $50 a day. Obviously, this is pounds, but it's just a UK account. But $50 a day. But obviously, you'll have your own goals, and you'll need to work out what your budget should be. But definitely keep it not too low. $50, if you absolutely have to, 25, but you really need more, especially because we've got 3 ad sets inside this. So $50. Come down to your ad set now, and this is the default ad set. So let's make it a purchase conversion event. And let's set it for the next day at midnight. You always want to launch things at midnight so that they can get the full day's worth of results rather than starting interim day. And then you'd come down and choose your targeting. So with broad targeting, if you watch my other video, you'll see that we don't select any interests. It's purely broad, but we can change the location and we can change the age and gender. For this example, I'm just going to leave it the same, UK 18 to 65. A lot of the time I will just leave the age open and leave the gender open as well. Sometimes I'll change the age, but the gender I just tend to leave open. It depends on your product, depends on your business, what you do here. But let's leave that all open, and we don't need to do anything else here. We'll then switch these to use existing post and just leave that for now. So now we need to make our other 2 ad sets. So let's duplicate it. You can do Control D to do that. And let's call this DCO ad set 1. And let's make it a dynamic creative by toggling on this. So yes, that's fine, continue. Now we're only allowed to have one ad in here. It's already going to be starting at midnight because we've just duplicated the previous one. It's already going to have the correct targeting. So that is fine. And we're going to duplicate it again, as this is DCO ad set 2. Okay, so the test ones. And what you can do if you really want, you can set a minimum spend limit to make sure, to force it to basically spend. Because what will often happen is if Facebook doesn't determine your combination of creative to be good, it just won't spend. But a lot of people, they don't believe in the system enough to just let it not spend. They want to see some spend. So like for me, for example, because I work with clients, I have to show them that we are testing the creatives. I can't just go, oh, it didn't work, it didn't spend. My own business, this one, yes, I do that. I just go, it doesn't work, not spending it. But with my clients, I will set a minimum spend just to give it enough spend to say, I did test this creative, it didn't work, it never works. Trust me, if it doesn't spend, it's never really gonna work. It might work in a small spend ad set or a small spend campaign, but you know, where you are at the current level, where you're in your scaling stuff, it never works. So yeah, that's just one thing to keep in mind. You can do that if you really want to make sure you have spend on the creatives, but you don't need to. So I'm not going to in this example. And yeah, so you'd come into these two dynamic creative ones and we're going to select our ads now. So let's just select the page. Let's select that and the Instagram account. And you can leave on optimize creative for each person. I've not found too much of a difference having it on or off. So I'm going to leave it for now. One thing though that we will be changing is the images. So let's add some images. I'm just going to add 3 random ones. Actually, let's do this way. 1, 2. So you can add up to 10, but you don't want to add up to 10. You only want to add 3. Because if you add 10, you've got too many combinations for Facebook to go into, and it's just not going to serve half of your ads. So we've got our 3 images selected. That's the same one, really. Let's not do that. Let's take another one. There's one there. Okay, so we've got 3 images. Primary text, I've got these saved somewhere else. So let's just add them. So 1 text, let's add another one. Okay, and then we're going to add our headlines now. So we've got two pieces of copy. We may as well get 2 headlines in there. Add another option. This one. And finally, you're going to add your website or wherever your landing page is going to. So yeah, there's the landing page there. And let's change this CTA to Shop Now. What I do sometimes is I'll add Shop Now and Learn More. But if you're someone who never uses Learn More on your ecom store, you can just keep it as Shop Now. I find sometimes Learn More performs better, so I sometimes do both, or I might just do whatever is working most of the time in the account and go with that. So if I'm always seeing Learn More working better, I'll use Learn More. If I'm always seeing like constantly Shop Now winning, I'll just default to using just Shop Now to make sure there's less combinations for Facebook to run with. But yeah, for now, let's use both, or I'll use both. Select the domain and add the UTM if you used UTMs. And that is pretty much it. So that's one of them done. What we would then do is we go into the second one and we would choose, actually let's do it this way just to save time. That's it. One. Okay, so adds it to, I did that one first. I'm going to delete this and duplicate this one. Just to save me time, you can go about it setting it up individually. Okay, so come in and let's come to the ad. So I'm going to delete these images. I'm going to stick with the same copy and have images as my variable. So let's take 3 different images, that one, and that one. Okay, so 3 different images, same copy, everything else is the same as this other one here. And that's what you would do. If you want to test copy as the variable, what I'll do is I'll use 2 of my top performing images, and I'll use 3 copy variations and 2 headlines still. But yeah, images are more the thing that's going to move the needle than copy generally, which is why we focus on doing more images, and images being, or not just images, I need to stop saying images. Images are video, the creative aspect, the creative part being the most of the focus. So that might be videos, or it might be images, or even GIFs. Okay, so that is that set up. I would now just go and hit publish, but I would need to actually turn off this one. Oh, this is so annoying. I would turn off this one or delete it, okay? And that is it all set up. That is me good to go and run. I can launch that campaign. And I'm going to show you now how you would actually use this in practice. Okay, so let's turn it off. Yeah, we're getting an error because we did that, but that would be running okay. So you leave that running for 3 days, come back and review it to try and find the winners. So we're going to jump into another one to show you how you would do that process. So here you can see I've got one with some data. You can see I have my winners ad set here, and I have the 2 ones that are testing. Whenever anything has been tested and not got results or has died out, you can see I've come in and just paused it and launched another one. So you only have 2 running at a time, apart from the situation I mentioned earlier where, you know, if it's performing and you want to just make sure you're always testing 2 ad sets that are actually doing the testing of new stuff, you could have an extra one. So what you're going to do is you're going to go, right, this one is performing. I'm getting the kind of results I want to get. I want to now move them into my winners. So you'd click on it and come to this level. You'd come to breakdown and you'd filter it by dynamic creative element and choose the image, video, or slideshow. Filter by spend and look at what is getting the most purchases for the CPA or for the ROAS that you want to get. Okay, so if this is getting the right type of metrics, this one isn't, but we'll just use it as an example. But let's say, okay, this one's doing the best. It's getting 6 purchases, and you can see the cost per purchase is £108, $108. That is my winner. It's getting the most spend. Sure, this one here is getting a better cost per purchase, but at this point in time, Facebook's saying I can't find enough people who are a good fit for this ad. Sure, when I actually do find those people, you get a good result, but it's not able to find those people, which is why this one gets more spend, even though it is not as good a result. So all that means is you just have to leave this running for a longer period of time. Maybe in 2 weeks, maybe in 3 weeks, this will start to find the right people and it will emerge as the winner. And even still, this one might start coming down. But for this example, let's just say this was halfway through, like, let's say we've been doing this for a month and, this was a great one. This is getting all the purchases, getting us a good result. It is the winner. We would go, right, that's the winner. I'm going to take a note of this creative. So this one with the girl, okay. I then want to come down to the text element and look at what was the winning text. So I'm going to filter this by spend again. Look at the top purchases. So I've got 5 purchases here versus 3. Cost per purchase on this one is 86 and this one's 105. So obviously this one is the clear winner. So want to sleep faster, longer, and ultimately better. That's the one I'm going to take as my copy. And then we're going to do the headline. And you can see that we again have a clear winner on the headline of spend. It spent the most. Okay, so you always want to be taking the one that's got the most spend, unless it's like comparable in spend and ingredients backed by science. So what you're going to do now is we're going to go find these actual ads to come and get them. So you want to come to preview, come to Facebook post with comments, and it's going to open you in a new window. So one thing to keep in mind, you'll see that mine has been opened in Business Suite. This is something that apparently Meta are transitioning to, but you might still be on an account where whenever you do the preview, it brings you to the Facebook page. So you won't have business, you just have facebook.com/post, blah, 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 blah. That was the better way. Unfortunately, now they're transitioning to Business Suite and it looks a little bit different, but you're going to be still presented with the different combinations of the copy, creative aspect, and headlines that got engagement, okay? So if they haven't had any engagement, no one's liked them, no one's commented, they're not going to be shown here. But more often than not, if something's performing, it's going to be shown here. So there is a way to go and find them if they are a winner and they don't have engagement, but it's so rare that I'm not going to show you it. And as it's really long-winded, it takes time. But I do actually have another video on dynamic creatives where I do show that. So I'll link that as well and you can go and watch that one. Really, this is just a video that I'm going to link out to all these different videos that you can go and see how you do certain things. But 90% of the time, that's not going to be relevant anyway. You're not going to need to do that. So this is what you're presented with, the different combinations. And as you can see, this first one, it won't always be the case that it's the first one, but today, we have been shown the one that's the winner as the first one. So I can see want to sleep faster, I can see that's the image, and I can see the ingredients backed by science. Make sure you check those 3 things because you might have one there that has maybe like a different headline or something, and it isn't actually the winning one that you've just gone and seen from that other process. So it's just the one that's getting the most engagement. That's why it's ranked up here. So what you want to do is you want to click on the date of the one you want to get the post ID of. If you have the Facebook page version, you'll have your name and then the date, but it's the same thing. You can hover over the date and click on it, and you'll see that the URL changes. So let's just let this load. Okay, so that's now loaded. And what I can now do, if I scroll down, you can see it's just this one that I want. I'm going to come up the top and select PF bid all the way along to just before the and. So PF bid and then all the numbers and letters after it, but don't include anything after this and. If you have the Facebook page example, you're not going to have anything after this anyway, so you're going to get PF bid, same thing, and just take everything after it. There shouldn't be anything after this thing if you're using Facebook post, but in Business Suite, it does put stuff after it, so you have to just be cautious that you're only taking up to and not including the and. Okay, so let's copy that, Control C, and we're going to come to this one originally. So you've got this, we're taking it from our winner, and this would be the winner's ad set, which we made. Let's put it as winners actually, so we know. So you've got your dynamic ad 1, dynamic ad 2 that we're doing the testing, and then you've got your winners 1. So you would come down, enter post ID, post that in there and hit submit. Okay, and you can see this is now taking that winning combination and put it in here. So obviously fill in all this stuff as well. And what I want to do is I want to take this post ID. If you're familiar with post IDs, you'll see this looks way more similar to what post ID normally should be. Dynamic creatives put them into a weird strain, but they do all have a numerical post ID. There's just no way of getting it in this preview mode. So we take that, and it's good practice to put it up at the top. Because then if you want to duplicate this, you can easily come and get it. But there's no naming structure on this. I'll definitely do a video at some point showing you my naming structure, as good housekeeping is very important. And with this, when you're constantly duplicating different campaigns, it will really, really help you. But that is pretty much it, guys. So that is the setup. We now see that we can flick that on, and we've now got our winners. You want to get 3 to 5 in there, taken from your 2 testing ones. And every 3 days, keep doing that process of testing it. So that's everything from me. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and yeah, I'll maybe do more of these in the future, so you start to over time understand how you set these up. But for now, hope it makes you get a start. Thanks for watching, and see you in another video very, very soon.